So currently the criteria which is followed is Revised Jones Criteria 2015. It was modified by American Heart Association and it incorporated some significant changes which we shall be discussing. Diagnosis is made by the criteria called as Revised Jones Criteria. Now, Jones Criteria was originally proposed in 1944 and then it was revised multiple number of times. It was revised in 1987, then it was revised in 1992 and then again revised in 2015. So currently the criteria which is followed is Revised Jones Criteria 2015. It was modified by American Heart Association and it incorporated some significant changes which we shall be discussing. Now when we talk about Revised Jones Criteria and its features, you need to understand that there are two types of criteria which are defined. There are 5 major criteria and 4 minor criteria, right? These 5 major and 4 minor have now been subdivided or modified based upon the prevalence of the disease. So we have slightly different set of criteria in low risk population and we have slightly different risk in moderate to high risk population. So before we go to the criteria, we first need to understand what are low risk and what are moderate to high risk population. Definition of low risk and moderate to high risk has already been asked once in Central Institute Super Speciality exam. Even in PG level, that is in PGI entrance exam, this question was repeated and so it is a potential MCQ even for NEET Super Speciality exam. So look at this table. So what is a low risk population? We don't define moderate to high risk. Anything which is not low risk, higher than that becomes a moderate to high risk. So low risk is based upon two things. Either when the acute rheumatic fever incidence in the population equal to or less than 2 per 1 lakh school going children per year, or if the prevalence of rheumatic heart disease in the general population across all ages is equal to or less than 1 per 1000 people. This RHD prevalence will be across all ages, it will not be school going children, whereas the incidence when we talk about, it includes the school going children per year. If any of the two is fulfilled, we call it as a low risk population. Most of the Western countries like United States, Canada, United Kingdom and the Western European countries, they all lie in low risk population. Whereas those which have a higher incidence and prevalence than above described, they lie in moderate to high risk population. Areas of entire Southeast Asian region including India, areas of Australia and New Zealand where the aboriginal population is high, and some areas of Africa, South America as well as certain Eastern European communities, they all lie in moderate to high risk population. So after defining this population, let us discuss the criteria. So on one side, first of all, I'll be talking about the major criteria. On one side, I'm writing low risk population. Other side I am writing moderate to high risk. I don't just want to show you tables, I want to write it so that I emphasize upon the points which I want to make, and I'll be using a different colored pen to highlight the change, which is a change according to these guidelines, which is different across the two population. So first of all, the first major criteria is carditis, right? Carditis can be clinical or it can be subclinical. It can be clinical or it can be subclinical. Similarly, here also, carditis is the first major criteria. It can be clinical or it can be subclinical. Why am I using a blue pen to denote subclinical? Because subclinical criteria was included as a major criteria in the 2015 American Heart Association modification. So whether it produces a clinical syndrome of CCF, of regurgitation, or it is a echocardiographic evidence of significant pathological regurgitation, any of the two will be considered to be a major criteria. Carditis is same in low risk and moderate to high risk population. Second, we have arthritis. In low risk population, only polyarthritis, that is multiple joints involved, are considered to be a major criteria. And when I say arthritis, it includes pain, redness, swelling, restriction of movement and warmth in the joint. Whereas in patients of moderate to high risk, arthritis as major criteria includes either polyarthritis or monoarthritis. Even a single joint involved is taken to be a major criteria, or polyarthralgia also can be included as a major criteria. Since it is different across the two populations, I am writing them with a red colored pen. Third, we have chorea, also called as Sydenham's chorea. This is same across the two populations. Then we have erythema marginatum, which is a skin lesion. It is a macular skin lesion, which is same across the two populations, across the two groups. And final is subcutaneous nodules, which is again same across the two set of populations. So criteria you need to remember, but you should also know that subclinical criteria was introduced in American Heart Association. And what is the difference? Difference lies regarding arthritis across the two populations, how you define arthritis. And this was also a modification which was introduced by American Heart Association. Anything which I am writing in color is a change as compared to the older guidelines, and points which are different across the two populations I am writing with a red pen so that it's easy for you to remember. Quickly we move towards the minor criteria. When we talk about minor criteria, we have again low risk population and moderate to high risk population. In low risk, first of all, polyarthralgia alone is considered to be a minor criteria, whereas here monoarthralgia, even a single joint involved, is considered to be a minor criteria in Indian setting, that is moderate to high risk population. Second is regarding fever. Fever will be a minor criteria in both the categories, but the degree of fever will be different. Here fever is a minor criteria if it is equal to or more than 38.5 degrees Celsius. Here it is a criteria only if it is above 38 degrees Celsius, right? Then we have third feature, which includes your raised inflammatory markers. So there should be elevated ESR or elevated CRP. Here also it should be elevated ESR or elevated CRP. The value of ESR, which is significant to be called as minor criteria, is equal to or more than 60 millimeter in 1 hour, whereas in moderate to high risk population it is equal to or more than 30 millimeters in 1 hour. The degree of CRP elevation is same, it is equal to or more than 3 milligram per deciliter. Here also it is same, equal to or more than 3 milligram per deciliter here also. And fourth is prolonged PR interval on ECG. It is the same across both the two settings. So prolonged PR interval on ECG. So first we have done major, now we have done minor criteria, highlighting the differences between the two. There are a few things that you must remember. First thing is, when you are taking arthritis as a major criteria, you cannot take the same thing as minor also, right? Or if you are taking something like whatever thing you are taking, it should be lying in one set of criteria. For example, if there is a patient who has carditis, if you have taken carditis as a major criteria, then you cannot take prolonged PR interval as a minor criteria also, even if the patient is having, because now it has been included as a major criteria. Suppose there is no patient with carditis, right, but only prolonged PR interval is present, then you will take it as a minor criteria and not as a major criteria, correct? So I hope the message has gone through.